All right. First question. Who tried one of the Curious tacos? Who reached in the box? Oh, man. Y'all aren't very curious. Second, I'm really disappointed about the lack of curiosity in here because we have the flippin' stairway to heaven right here, and I did not see one person walk up those stairs or at least look out the window or try to open that door. Because I guarantee you I would have done that, and I would have walked right out there and probably fallen off. But, yeah. You went?
I went.
Okay, this guy, hold on. What's your name?
Paul.
Paul wins because he went up there and looked at it, and he's also, he wins 2 times over because he crossed the threshold and went over to Greenlight and looked at the badass old school Wisconsin pinball looking machine over there.
That's right.
So see, I noticed these things.
And there's a reason I did that, because I run the largest pinball festival in the world.
There you go.
In 3 weeks.
All right, you need to talk to the founder of Greenlight, Eric Herskin over there about that. He'll tell you where he got it. Okay, so I don't have a clicker and I don't have a mic because I can't do that. I'm old. I don't like that stuff. I'll just push the button. But we're going to talk about curating creative curiosity. The hardest thing about this entire talk will be me trying to say curating a lot, or curiosity, or creative. That's a lot of C words. I'll try to get through it, but you're going to have to bear with me because I will fumble over those words a million times. I'm not going to say anything about myself because really I'm going to kind of give you who I am and how curious works for me kind of through this talk. So we're getting right into it. I also want to at least warn you what you're about to get into. I'm going to give you 3 things. Always got to set the table beforehand, so if you get bored at step 1, 2, or 3, you can go. It's early in the morning, I get it. It's pretty early for me to get up here and talk. So I'm going to give you the secret. Everyone in this room is in the creative industry. You're a creative employee. Curiosity obviously drives you or you wouldn't be here. Like I said, I'm old. I've been doing this almost a quarter century, so getting close to 25 years. There is a secret to staying and getting through the gauntlet that is the creative industry, because we're kind of, even though it's a creative industry, we're kind of the minorities, and it's tough. You got to sell yourself, you got to sell your work to very objective people, and you have to do subjective work. So there is a secret to getting through it, and it's worked for me. I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do it. That's where my version comes in. I'll tell you how I've been able to do it. Hopefully that kind of gives you some inspiration. It may not, but I'm not a motivational speaker. I don't have a book on how to be creative or how to be curious. I can just tell you what works for me, and hopefully that rubs off, and hope you can take something away from that. And then a playlist. If you're bored by the secret, or you already know it, you don't care about my version, I'm giving you a playlist, because the world keeps telling me, and a lot of you millennials out here keep telling me, and I'm glad to see a lot more gray beards out there today. Everyone tells me rock and roll is dead, and it is not going to die on my watch. It will not. So, music is really important to me. It gives me a lot of my curiosity and inspiration. So, I kind of have a soundtrack of my life. So, my favorite bands and those lyrics and the names of those songs kind of help me get through life and this creative gauntlet. So I'm going to kind of tell my story through some song lyrics and through some songs and through some bands. So some of you the guy right here with the Jam shirt will know these bands. But some of you may not. And be curious. I'll give you a playlist at the end. So at least you're going to get a playlist out of this thing. Okay, I'm going right in. The secret to longevity. Not the secret to success, but the secret to longevity in this business. There's 2 things. The Illuminati has hid them for years, but I'm going to tell you, you may already know it. Be curious and be brave. That's it. I'm serious. Be curious and be brave. I cannot tell you how to be curious. I cannot tell you how to be brave. That is up to you. I'm about to tell you how I did it, but there is no, I'll go backwards. There is no real, game plan for this, but I swear, I promise you, you will last in this industry. You may get fired along the way. You may, have a terrible project or what. I'm not telling it's going to be smooth, but you will survive in this industry if you're curious and brave. Okay, so anyone that has a meeting or is tired, you can go. First band, Minor Threat, In My Eyes. This is my version. So my version of how to do this through my eyes. I see a lot of different ages, a lot of different probably stages in your creative journey or in your creative career. I broke mine down into 3. to kind of give you an idea, because curiosity is an abstract thing. So how do you actually make curiosity work in your job? We're all curious, but what do you do with that? So I'm gonna give this little talk. I think they gave me 25 minutes. Don't give me the hook if I go 35, because I might, because I wander like I'm already doing. And you guys, I'll go fast, and you guys ask me questions at the end. But through the eyes of a curious employee, a curious creative director, and a curious agency owner, how do you keep going and keep that, get through this whole gauntlet through these different eyes? One of my favorite quotes ever is, "There is no cure for curiosity." See, I'm going to really struggle with the word. No cure for curiosity. I love that, and that's probably why you're all here. It's a little scary because no matter, if you have a condition, you need a cure, but there really isn't a cure. This is why you do what you do and why you fight through this. There's no cure for it. So basically we're saying curiosity is a condition. So if you have this condition, which I'm glad we all do, or we wouldn't be here, the world would not go around without us, but curiosity is a condition. So what's a remedy for that? How do you scratch that itch? Exploration. So they go hand in hand. If you're just curious all day and you're wondering and thinking, you're not going to get anywhere if you don't go explore and actually put action to that curiosity. That's the biggest thing that people miss. If you don't get out of your seat and go do something with that curiosity, it's not going to go anywhere. You're not going to get through it. So that's important. Okay, with that as a warning, I want to warn you right now. Everyone knows the quote, "Curiosity killed the cat." It's a little scary. I don't think you'll die. Ask me questions at the end. I have some curious stories. I see Matt out here. I don't know if he was with us when we went into the tunnels and almost got locked in a vault, but the Dallas tunnel, so ask me later. But it can be scary. Being curious and brave is not for the weak. But I embrace it. Give me danger. Iggy Pop and the Stooges. Album Raw Power. Go download it, Spotify it. Give me danger. I would rather be curious and brave than live a slow, comfortable death. So that's kind of my spirit, and that's kind of how through these 3 stages of my journey, that's kind of how I'm going to talk about it. So first stage, curious, creative, employee. Okay, first song. I was born right in the middle of Gen X. We were the slacker generation. One of the best songs ever, Slack Mother-Effer by Superchunk. I came out of the workforce, this person, in the eyes of the generation before me. My very first job, I was playing in bands. Music is important to me. I got a job at a tabloid, which may or may not be the Dallas Observer. So when I worked there, at that time, I was like gung-ho. Deep Ellum was huge then and popping. It's the mid-90s. And I'm going to be playing in bands and doing the ads for them and doing all these things. And so I'm one of 2 creative designers in the creative department. But what I didn't know is the tabloid industry, the paper industry, basically there's 2 designers and about 50 salespeople that literally walk around the city going to florists and clubs and restaurants and saying, "Can you please do an ad for me, or can you please put an ad in our paper?" And they got to do that every week. It's a weekly pub. So they're just trying to fill this thing with ads. Well, when that happens, those salespeople are going out there to sit down with this business owner, and they draw up their own ad right there on the spot on the legal pad. And it's a cliche, but yes, napkins. So the creative department there were people bringing me stacks of napkins and having to design exactly what they gave me. Well, I am going to prove all these old people that were probably my age now, then, but where I am not a slack motherfucker, and I'm going to do the best work, and I'm going to show you how this can even be better than your napkin. So at about a month after doing napkin ads, I was like, we're not going to do this. This is my stand. I'm the creative. I have a creative degree. I'm a fine artist. I'm going to do this. So I spent the whole day making their napkin ads, and then stayed up all night. Didn't get home till, 2 in the morning. Stayed up all night doing my own version of every ad. And pasted up that newspaper, and pasted up the spreads, and said, "This is how you do it." I was so proud of myself. Laid there, put those up on the wall, laid all those napkins down there, and said, "Look how better this is than this." I'm going to prove myself. And I was so proud of myself. The editor of the paper got in early every morning. I knew he'd see it. I roll in about 8:30. I literally got fired. They said, "No, that's not how we work. You just wasted a lot of time and effort, and you're fired." And I was like, well, F. So, curiosity killed the cat. I didn't die, but I kind of died. So, I didn't have a job. So, that tells you it is real. But like I said, this is not the secret to success. It's the secret to longevity. So that really pushed me forward into literally what I'm going to go with Johnny Cash. I've been everywhere, man, because I really have, and that was purposeful. When I saw that and that interaction of being a creative person in the world, that sent me on literally a creative journey. And that's really the first thing you can take away from it is, we do not live in the time wherever you work 50 years in a company and get a gold watch at the end. It's okay to move around. I'm a creative employer. My employees, please don't listen to me on this part. I don't want you to leave. But I got to be honest, that's worked for me. Moving around. Don't be complacent. Once you get to a point where it's not working for you, you try your hardest, you stick it out, but don't be complacent because you are curious beings and you cannot be curious if you're complacent. So don't do that. I've been everywhere and my journey's been very purposeful. I've gone to different places every time because I wanted different experiences. So over 25 years almost, in Dallas, I've worked at almost every kind of commercial art there is, whether it's in-house, whether it's agencies, whether it's at higher learning at a university. The print shop and big agencies are starred. Ask me about them later, if you're curious. So that first example really sucked because I got fired, but it really did kind of push me out there to be a curious, creative person. So Husker Du, one of the best bands of all time from Minneapolis, perfect example is their song. I'm going to give you some perfect examples. Maybe not perfect, but these are actual examples that people always want to, again, how do you make curiosity action? Well, these are a couple examples of how that happened. So I talked about UNT. I'd just come out of the ad agency world. UNT got a grant from the state, and they got to hire like a 40-person ad agency team on campus, right around the turn of the century. Now I'm really talking old because it was turn of the century, around 2000. The first job they gave me was, every university has a lookbook. A lookbook is the prize thing of every university. It has who we are, what we are, come enroll, bar none almost, around 2000. Every single brochure for every single university in the United States had a picture of their clock tower on the cover. Bar none. UNT's did too. I was like, okay, I don't know. I was curious about it, so I started researching, and the internet wasn't even very strong back then, so I literally had to write letters and get people to mail me from other colleges their lookbook, and I laid them all out, and I was like, yeah, they all look the same. This is not right. Because the goal of theirs was to reach 30,000 employees by 2001. That would have made them the third largest university in Texas behind UT and A&M. So that was a big goal. They were racing Texas Tech at the time. That was their goal. So that's what they gave me. I also realized the stupid clock tower that's on their cover is where all the employees stayed. All the marketing people. They put this ad agency that they hired with this grant inside that building with the president and the marketers, and they never left. They go in there and they'd sit in there. I was like, this is not curious. I'm curious to see what do you got to offer? Who goes here? Who are the people here? So the first thing I did was go outside. I ate lunch out there with the kids. I walked around with the kids. I was still young enough and didn't look like this where I wasn't a creep walking around with these kids. But I went outside. That's what I did. You know what I found? I found these guys. These guys are the real students of UNT at circa 2001. This is what they look like. And they weren't, if they did ever put stuff on their brochures or anything, it was stock photography or it was really model pose stuff. So again, that's 18 years ago, but it was rampant everywhere. So I went and met these people. These were that's the freshman class president of UNT that year, and these are the people that were on the student council. So I went back curiously to my boss and to the president of the university and said, you know what? Here's what I found out. Here's the real people. I'm into music. The #1 magazine for people 16 to 22 is Rolling Stone. It was a big tabloid side back then, back when people listened to rock and roll, I guess, and whenever they read magazines. That's what they did. I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put these jokers on a Rolling Stone size magazine, and that's going to be our lookbook. I fought them for 9 months on this because there's no way in hell we're putting a kid with a lip tattoo and cornrows on our university's cover. But you know what? I was brave because I already got fired once. So, you know, we did it. We did it, and they put it out. They hit their 30,000 goal. They became the third largest. And it really did, from little UNT, change the way these lookbooks look. Because we entered this in competitions, there's a case awards in university settings, to where it beat out Notre Dame's Golden Dome piece or something like that. And it was interesting how this little curious experiment really did change to where hardly any lookbooks now show cheesy stock photography or just a building. So that was a success. No one got fired. Again, I have 3 examples. Another example is I worked at more of an experimental type ad agency. The goal was to introduce Alka-Seltzer to 18 to 25-year-olds. At that time, where's Brad? Brad worked there with me. So we were like, what? And no one knew who that was. The internet was somewhat still new at the time. So you couldn't just go search it up. No one knew what Plop Plop Fizz Fizz was, especially from that age. So what did we do? We were curious. We walked around and figured out and asked people and searched what internet we could. Around that time, there was a very popular show called Jackass. So Jackass pretty much introduced people to Alka-Seltzer because most 18-year-olds, the only thing they did with Alka-Seltzer was stuff them into Coke 2-liter bottles and blow them up, shake them up and make them explode. That's what they did. So we said, you know, we're going to be curious and brave, and that's how we're going to reach these people. So 30-second clip. I may or may not be the actor in this. So we'll have to see.
Dude, shut up. Being a baby. Come on. Start shaking those up. Get them ready. Okay. It's all right. It's supposed to get tight. It makes it working. All right, come on. Put this on here.
It may or not be my art director.
Just jump. Just jump. Just jump.
Okay, we put no branding on it. That was big for the time. Said nothing about Alka-Seltzer. There was a little thing that came out about the time we did this called YouTube. There wasn't a lot on YouTube then. We did a test with Alka-Seltzer. They put it on YouTube. We made a little dummy site to see if that would engage people. It blew up. It shut down the site in like 2 days, which scared the hell out of them. And they took it off real quick. And that video went through their lawyers for about 2 years, and they never ran it. So kind of a success, but it got us more business because we were more experienced. That's how we were going to try to get more experiential testing of products. Okay, last one. A few years ago, I worked out in Fort Worth. A company came to us. There was about 2,000 acres of land in the middle of Fort Worth owned by the Edwards family. They had never. The Edwards family is basically the family that gave Fort Worth the land that they have to make their city, incorporate their city. But they left about thousands of acres in the middle of it that no one until around 2011, no one had ever set foot in. It was their land. Enough of the Edwards had died off that they sold it back to the city. So the city was going to put a highway, a Chisholm Trail Parkway, and some roads right through the middle of it. They came to our agency and said, hey, will you guys make us some real fancy monument signs to put at the entrance and exit of this, just so, because people are going to drive through there for the very first time ever. We want them to know we're going to develop this. So they just asked us to put, you know, their bad logo and their stupid architectural drawing and say residential. What do you put on those signs? Residential and commercial and real estate. You know, put that stuff on there. We took the job, and I said, first, we got to think about this. So the first thing I did was go out there to the field and say, wow, you know, the first people that got to walk on it, and looked at that, and they talked with the Edwards, and they talked about what was on this land, and this is where the corridors where all the people raised the horses, and this is where the cattle people lived, and this is where the Chisholm Trail went right through here. And just by being curious enough to walk out there, get out of my seat, and not just take the job and make some monument signs, I walked that thing for a day. And then brought my team out there. We walked around it for a day. And we decided, you know what, you don't need monument signs. We convinced a client, again, to not put their logo anywhere, basically to build giant Hollywood sign-style letters. We called them word crops, and just plant them out in the field. So for the first time that road opens up and people in Fort Worth get to drive through the first time, they see the word legacy out there and they're like, man, what is this? What, create some curiosity for them. Discover what's going to become here. The third one was vision. We put that strategically right where they're about to build the first building. So whenever they start building the stuff, you'll look right through the vision and you see the vision of what this is going to become. For 2 years, they didn't even start building, but those signs stayed out there. They got more pub, more TV coverage, more write-ups in their paper, and people would go in droves to take their picture with these signs. They got so much more publicity because then we set up a website where people would go and learn about the legacy and discover what's going to come. So, but this never would have happened if we were just sat in our seat and not being curious about what is this land, or even putting a sign on it. So get up and get out. That's basically the employee side of this is don't be complacent, find your inspiration, and get up. It's going to be a common theme. All right, we're almost done. So then moving into, those are employee things. I wanted to give real world examples of how that works. So as a creative director, as you move on your journey, maybe you're going to have to manage people or direct people or hire people. How do you do that? You build upon everything I just said, but what are some easy things to do, or how have I been able to find the people to do this? I'm going to do all this. These are all through songs. Where's my mind? And do some hobbies. Pixies, Miniman, ridiculously good bands. Where's your mind? I want to know when I'm hiring someone or interviewing them. I want to know. I don't care where your mind is. Honestly, are you curious? Can you think for yourselves? Hobbies. Do you do anything outside of work? Because it's amazing how the people that are really, really good at this industry are not the people that are religiously follow the industry. If you're stuck in it, you get right into that complacent world of doing what everyone else does. People that do stuff outside of work are some of the most creative people. We have an art director here, Caitlin is somewhere. She runs an entire vintage store on the side. And you wouldn't imagine how much of that stuff comes into her thought and her design, and just, it benefits clients that she's somewhere else thinking about different things. And where did you get that? Honestly, this may scare people too. I don't care where you went to college or if you went to college. I don't care. What are you doing? Because at this time, in this day and age, anyone can work the programs. Anyone can work Photoshop. Anyone can do that. But what are you doing elsewhere that's going to add to a curious team? Maybe my favorite song of all time, Fugazi, Waiting Room. The hook is come on and get up, don't sit idly by. I've worked with some of these people in the audience, and some of our greenlighters are out there. They know that I don't sit still, and I literally make laps every day. I am not a corner office creative director. I do not sit in my office and say, here's an assignment. You guys do the assignment, give me some concepts, and come present them to me, and I'll critique them. Don't do that, because that's not going to work. I literally talk to every single person in our agency, not just the creative team. Because guess what? If you're a creative director and you're curious, you want to know what everyone's doing in your agency. I talk to every single person every day about something. It may not even be about the project. Me and a junior art director were talking about something totally different than the project that was up on her screen, but somehow that conversation worked into solving a problem on the things she was doing. So talk to people. Don't just sit there and be a corner office creative director. That's the biggest advice I can give, is just get up. Nervous breakdown. Our account director here, Brittany, she's here somewhere. My favorite thing in the world is when Brittany says, oh, I'm nervous. Because that means we were curious enough and brave enough to get something out there that's going to make a change and make a difference. And usually it works. Black flags, nervous breakdown. I don't give your employees a nervous breakdown, but make them a little nervous, because if you're a little nervous and a little curious, you're going to do great things. Don't be complacent. Don't do what's expected. So basically, the tips for that is hire curiously, get up. There's a theme here. Get up again, and then get nervous. Do those things, and that's going to help you get through your curious journey. Okay, curious agency owner. This is where I'm not really supposed to be a big plug for Greenlight and How-Do, but it is the best agency in the world, mainly due to Eric and Olivia, the co-founders that are out there, because they brought this space to the world. The first thing you can do as an owner, an agency owner, is set the tone. One thing we do here at Greenlight is the first day you step into our building, we don't give you an employee handbook, we don't give you all the rules, and we don't even talk about all the insurance and all these different things first. You get our guide to Vibe. And it's an explorer's guide to Greenlight. This basically tells you who we are, how we do, and what we do, and it sets the tone that we are curious people, and we expect you to be curious too, and we expect you to explore that. and we're going to give you the freedom to do that. So it's something as simple as that. Just set the tone. Because when that's the first thing someone sees when they walk into your shop or come to work for you, I mean, it's a game changer. Okay, Black Sabbath, I'm going way back, but they're ridiculously cool. Planet Caravan is a song about space. And this is what I'm talking about, this space. Space is super important for us. We came to this space in this neighborhood on purpose. We were up on 75 in Henderson and working in, whatever story building and had cubes and all these things. Like, that's not us. That's not who we are. So we were curious. We found this building. We have curious people here. We have the guy that's right here is a stunt driver who broke his back like a few years ago and rides motorcycles around all day. That's the people we're with. We have photographers down here. We have such a community down here to be curious with that our space is important. So we wanted to. This location is important, as well as what we do inside it. We built this place to walk, move, see, hear, and be. Like you said, we don't mind if you walk through our shop here in a minute. Just don't stay all day because we do have to do some work. But we don't have ceilings on our conference rooms. We don't have ceilings on our offices. We don't have many offices. That's a little scary for some people, that open work concept, but we took it to the max. You hear conversations. You hear what so-and-so's talking to with this client while someone over here is talking about some project. But you would not believe how having this open space and this idea of collaboration and curiosity, something someone says on a phone call that has nothing to do with you may spark something that gives you an idea of what you're doing for your client. So we embrace that. That's important to us. We also have plenty of room, just like kind of this area, to sit, drink, and laugh, because you have to do that. But we also wanted to put our money where our mouth was and give that back to the community and our clients. So that's why we built How Do. We had plenty of space for our agency over there, so we put a wall up, made a storefront, and How Do was created to change the way you do, change the way you have. Just come here with intention to do something. Our employees don't even come over here to eat lunch or make a phone call or whatever. If our employees come over here, it's because they are intentional on getting something done. That's what you do here. So we rent this space out to anybody that ever wants it. I don't care if it's a party or a meeting or whatever, but more importantly, we give it to our clients. If you're a client of ours, you can come here any day and work. You can do whatever you want here. It's amazing how bringing people and curious people to our place there's nothing better you can do as an agency owner is to inspire and bring people into, just like today, bring people into your space to really pay off that whole guide vibe. This is who we are and what we do. Because you can present here, you can be present here, again, you can sit, drink, and laugh. That's what we do. Down to the point where that's not only for clients, it's for community. We do a doers event where we bring just doers, people that are curious and doing murals and brewing beer and doing all kinds of stuff. We do it ever so times a year, and it's free to anyone. It's just a happy hour. We had a campfire. We put a campfire out there and just invited anyone in the neighborhood and let anyone sign up to talk. They talked about what they did and what they did in the community. So as an agency owner, that's how you keep people curious and keep people going. So set the tone, give them space, inspire. Those will be those 3 bullet points. We're pretty much done. That's not the story of my real life, but at least my work life. Social D, you got to check them out. They're still around. They'll probably play Gas Monkey or something. So flip it all the way back to Curious and Brave. Those were the 3 basic points over that, or not 3. 3 times 3 stages of a career. Don't be complacent. Find your inspiration. Get up. Hire curiously. Get up again. Get nervous. Set the tone. Give them space, and then inspire. If you can do those things and wrap it under Curious and Brave, but don't do it my way. That's just, I can only know my experience. So that's how I do it, and that's how I continue to do it. Do it your own way. Because I'm going to leave you with this. It's got to be music. Mike Watt, my favorite. I played bass for a long time. Best bass player in the world to me. At every show I ever saw him play, his mantra was, yeah, we are up here, we're playing, we have this awesome music, we're so glad you guys came out to listen to it, but honestly, this is our music. We're trying to share it with you, but go start your own band. That stuck with me from being a kid watching these bands. Go start your own band. Go start your own way to be curious and brave. Don't copy anybody. You can take bits and pieces of what other people are doing, but live by that. Go start your own band. And that's it, and there's your playlist. I'm done.